Hey, my name is PolishLynx and welcome to Katawa Shoujo. We have to get the neutral ending. Kind of unfortunately, kind of fortunately, but we got to get it. At least we maybe will learn something new. Or maybe not really. I mean, we probably will only learn how they don't end up together. Anyway, hurry, Lilly. I'm moving as fast as I can. Don't mind me. Oh, exactly. I can barely make out Lee's voice over the deafening pounding of the rain. Even though I dislike pulling her around, this situation calls for it. I turn forward, my free hand over my head in a futile attempt to keep at least my hair dry. My vision seems to be in grayscale. This really is rotten weather for summer. And the last kind of climate I'd want for a date. Speaking of which, it's getting pretty hot in here. I mean, yesterday I had to literally switch from winter jacket to like normal one. Something for spring/autumn really. Now going out in it, and why the heck is it so hot? And it was 18 degrees already. Like, damn, this jumps quite crazily. I mean, just last week I think it was like -12. Which isn't really that cold, but you know, that's quite a sudden change, I would say. I mean, it's the difference of 30 degrees, quite ridiculous. At least there is no rain. Oh my god, I hope I didn't say this at the wrong moment. But yeah. Go. A pity I'd even checked the weather forecast beforehand. One of the very few times I've ever done so. Only for it to say that Sunday afternoon would be fine. Also, for a change, I actually have the window with the game on the left side near the webcam, so I'm kind of actually looking at the webcam. Surprising. Kind of. I probably will venture with my eyesight to different places as well. Like looking at the two software windows recording. If it's going correctly. It is, at least, for now. Anyway. I don't believe forecasts as well, so yeah. Looking to Lilly. Her shoulders are by now completely drenched, with her right hand holding tightly to mine and her left gripping her retracted cane. You know what? It's so hot, why don't I open the window? Why the heck not? Let's get some fresh air into here. This horrid downpour came on just as we were between our destination and Yamaku, so we decided to turn rushing the rest of the distance rather than doubling back. Entirely unused to running this fast, Liz using all her concentration just to avoid tripping over. Hisao, do you know where we're going? Even she's reduced to shouting to try and be heard over the combined noise of the wind and the rain. The Sha! The rest of my voice is completely drowned out by an even heavier burst of rain. The what? The Shanghai! How far is that? It should be far now. It doesn't take long before I call out to her once again. Or maybe not, it seems it's correct now. Anyway, it looks like we're safe, it's just up ahead. I quickly pull up to stop just in front of the familiar exterior, the lantern outside still giving off its reliable glow, and wait for Lilly to catch her breath before going in. Ladies first. The tiny bell inside rings out when I hold the door open for her, a smile and a polite nod being my reward, before entering myself. As I step in behind her, I wipe my feet. Only a quick not enough people do that, by the way, when entering stores and so on. Why do you not do that? Keep the place clean, goddammit. Or at least relatively clean as far as you are capable of keeping it like that. Or maybe it's just Poland's fault. Only a quick glance is necessary to notice the distinct lack of activity. The Shanghai doesn't seem to get much in the way of patronage, and today is no different. Only a couple of tables are occupied. Summoned by the bells ringing, a most expected person comes to greet us. Welcome to the Shanghai! Yuko looks chipper today. Trying to predict her mood is pretty hard, but it's a nice change from the norm. Hello, Yuko. Hey. Good afternoon, you two. Bow. She takes a deep bow, somewhat taken aback as she rights herself again and gets a better look at us. What happened to you? You both look. Her eyes drift towards the glass of the door behind us. Oh dear! We're inside now at least. I think that's the most important thing. It's nice and cozy. You're lucky to be working inside today. Also, can I explain my rambling about entering, with dirty shoes and so on into the stores? I actually can explain why I'm annoyed by that. Literally, because when I worked in the goddamn sports store, we were right next to the entrance to the mall inside. To the mall itself. So, unfortunately, we are basically the first store. Unfortunately, I guess. The first store, depending on, on what we are looking at. But yeah, the first store that people would enter to. So, of course, they would enter with dirty shoes. And it was such a mess there. God damn it. I'm glad I'm not working there anymore for. It has been nice and quiet. I like days like this. I like that out of it. Oh, wait. Sorry. Is there anything you like? French vanilla tea, please. Anyway, I'll have the same. Right, coming right up. She quickly skitters off with a determined look on her face, trying very hard not to forget our orders. If that fails, she is at least dedicated to her job. Totally not dusty on the mic. I mean arm. It's very dusty. I literally to an empty seat before the two of us settle down. As usual, there is a large difference between my exhausted flopping down in my seat and Lee's delicate sliding into hers. Her cane set beside her. For a while, I just idly watched the rain falling outside. The occasional person runs down the street trying to stay as dry as possible, hands often tightly gripping a rain-soaked umbrella. Lee sits just as quietly as I, her eyes closed as she intently listens to all that's happening. It's a comfortable, relaxing silence that exists between us, just the time that we'd all so often shared together in the past months. For really, at least. I can't help replying the words. I mean replaying, sorry. I can't help replaying the words of her sister in my mind, at times contrasting them to both our time spent together since I entered Yamaku, and to the way we've been since we started dating. No matter how much I try, I can't work Lilly out. It's as if the harder I try to second guess her emotions and her potential decision, the more difficult it becomes to reach a clear conclusion. It makes me doubt whether I ever really understood her. In the end, I'm going to have to ask, even though I very much want to avoid doing so. You seem quiet today, Hisao. Really? You seemed so enthusiastic about taking me out on a date. I just assume you had something specific you wanted to do. No, not really. I just want to spend time with you. Is that so? Fine. There was one thing. Ethel Green finds its way onto Lee's face. Her knowing full well that she's best at me, it makes what I want to say all the more awkward. It was just... Akira and I were talking.
Ah,
What's with the toad?
you two do seem to get on well, don't you?
Well, I do think she's a pretty cool person to talk with. It'd be nice if any of the teachers were anything like her.
Cool.
For a moment, I tried to place her tone of voice, my mouth curling to a smirk as I realized it. You're not jealous, are you?
I'm not jealous.
After her teasing me over such thing on our first date, I don't feel too bad having a little laugh at her expense this time around. As we settle down for, it's only a minor distraction from the real point of why I brought her Lily here. Don't worry, it was mostly just everyday stuff. That said, there was something Akira mentioned that I wanted to talk to you about. When you went to see your family in Inverness a while back, she said...
Akira told you about my family summons, hasn't she?
Seconds tick by while I try to read his face, an odd mixture of feelings written on it. She seems annoyed but also somewhat confused.
Here.
Yuko tentatively slides our drinks on the table, her presence oddly small. As she walks back to the counter after a quick, polite nod. I realize the air between me and Lily's thick and our expressions are both somewhat pensive.
Even though she says I should lead my own life, she still interferes at the worst of times.
I mean, I wouldn't say she interfered over there. At least. I mean, hey. There is a relationship going. I don't think you should blame her here, yeah. She's just looking out for you. And it's not like I can't understand her concern over this. Lily's irritation gives way to an awkward and largely unsuccessful attempt to mask her feelings. She really doesn't deal well with being cornered on personal topics. I know, but
I just wanted some more time. I knew I'd have figured it out eventually, but...
You were intentionally hiding this from me. For how long were you planning to do so?
As I said, I simply wanted more time to think it through. I want to be sure of my decision before telling you.
What did you decide to do in the end? I know I want her to say, but an awful feeling refuses to leave my gut.
My family does dearly want me to return to them, and Akira will be going as well. I could still teach as a carer, whether it be here or there.
Now that I think about it, I realize at the moment that... I mean, I know it's not the same, but it's kind of similar situation. Like... Okay, it's not the same. And it's not similar, really. Let's not get into it. So... You're going. How long have you known? I already know you would ask when you first went to Scotland about a month ago.
Some time.
My frustration very nearly boils over. The fact that she's done this affects me more than it should. For her to not only be leaving, but to have been actively hiding her own plans from me. As I've been seeming for so long to be the one solid pillar of support and reliability I could depend on. It feels as if the foundation underneath me is suddenly shifting drastically much faster than I can adapt to. Perhaps this isn't so much frustration as sheer unease. Lily.
I'm sorry. I wanted to think this through completely. I was trying to take advantage of you, please.
I know, Lily, I know. This is just, like, really sudden. I guess this means that once you go, we'll be breaking up. For one of the few times I've seen since I met her, she's genuinely lost for words. She doesn't look surprised, no doubt, because the fact had downed her since she became sure of her decision. But rather she appears genuinely unsure of how to deal with the situation that is in front of her. We could try pursuing a long distance relationship. They're getting more and more common these days after all. I would go with that. Even as she says it, the tone of her voice gives away that she doesn't really believe what she's saying. Lily is far too old-fashioned to be able to cope with a relationship without any kind of physical presence. And even I am, to an extent. All we would ever be to each other would be a voice from the other side of the world. I would go with it. Yo, if you love someone, yes. In the end, trying to rationalize everything is futile, and them trying to connect what's happening with the future or past just seem to get more difficult the more I concentrate. Those quiet moments where we just walk side by side, the precious time we spent with Hanako and Akira, the casual chatter we had during lunchtimes, the times we made love. You haven't seen that. The confessions of our feelings to each other. All pointless. All just a fleeting moment of our young lives. We're just two children pretending to be adults, aren't we? A long, long silence hangs in the air between us. The noise of the other patrons drinking and talking only makes the situation feel more strange and disconnected. Lily's face remains low, her rejected expression clouding it.
I'm sorry, Hisao.
A simple apology and no more. She's left entirely without any further response or comment. With a long sigh, I gather what's left of my thoughts, and ask the final question I have for her. When will you be going?
I'll be leaving with Akira, so it will be a little less than a week.
The beginning of summer holidays.
Just a little afterwards, yeah.
Her tone is unusually slow and steady, her apologetic and depressed mood all the more written to her face, as she tries to hide it in her voice. In the end, I can't even keep my promise to going to Tanabata with her before she leaves. I look down, seeing my face reflected in the by now lukewarm cup of neglected tea sitting in front of me. I really thought I'd left this kind of expression behind. For a while I just stared down to the still surface, trying to sort through my emotions to get at what course of action I should take. Whether it be right now or in the future. But just as before, the effort is wasted. I glance up to Lily, gently sipping her cool tea without complaint, her face drawn and shoulders slumped. She looks to be deep in thought, too. A strangely cold atmosphere coming between us as we isolate ourselves to mull things over. Even as Lily's cup slowly empties, mine remains untouched. You clearly don't want to break up. Come on, guys. It's a long time before the rain dying down outside and a few other patrons of the Shanghai having left. The chill of the rapidly darkening evening permeates the dormitory hallways. While trudging down the corridor to my room, I see an unwelcome movement from up ahead. Sure enough, the opening of the door opposite mine heralds the arrival of a bespectacled Kenji. Hey man, what? Wow, dude, you look awful, I think. You okay? He really has a knack for making any situation better. I don't really want to go into it. It's late.
Okay, that's cool. If you ever want to talk about it, I'm here, you know.
I look at him for a moment before surrendering my stand front and awkwardly scratching back my neck, embarrassed by my standoffish response to him. Thanks, Kenji.
Hey, it's cool. That's what friends are for, right?
Yeah, you're right. See ya. I open the door to my own dorm room and close behind me as quickly waves me off. As he quickly waves me off. The solitude the door makes against the door frame sounds out a final call for the life I've led since coming to Yamaku. I just stand in my darkened room, fruitlessly attempting to work out what I should do from this point onwards. Well, yeah. Just what should I do? Just what? As the class ends, I simply rest my head on my hand and stare out of the window to pass the time. It's been a few days since Lily told me her plans. I haven't been to our ordinary lunchtime home since then. Not that there would be much point. Hanako's been busy with the newspaper club she's newly joined, and has even begun talking in class with Naomi every now and then. You think with Hanako's route we'll get to know Naomi as well? I mean, I would assume yes. Even Lily, aside from the fact that a meeting between us would have been awkward in any case, has been run off her feet with class representative duties as the summer holidays approach. And now, they're just about here. With the end of today's spell, the summer holidays will have begun. I suppose that all I'll end up doing will be visiting my parents for the duration and lazing about my old home, now that my previous plans are entirely askew. It's kinda crappy that that's been my holiday for the past few years, to be honest. That's how kind of stuck up on saving money I was. To, you know, have that like one big trip that failed in 2020. Anyway. Meanwhile, Akira and Lily would be en route to Scotland to live out the rest of their lives there. No matter how hard I try to rationalize the idea that once the summer holidays begin, my life will return to the way it was, it simply refuses to happen. Everyone's moving on with their lives. Lily's rejoining her family, Akira's moving up in her father's business, Hanako's gaining new friends and hobbies, and even Yuko's moving ahead with her university aspirations. Even I moving forward in the end. With the grace I've gotten so far in Yamaku, much less after such a rocky beginning, the path to getting teaching science as a career seems straightforward. I suppose I should at least... You know what, now that I think about it? You think he would have a heart attack the moment he steps into the class for the first time? I mean, that would be quite stressful situation, right? I know I thought of that now. I suppose I should at least be happy about that much, but it doesn't really seem to help. Hit-chan! I quickly stop my ruminating and turn to face the bubbly voice beside me, putting on the most upbeat expression I can master. As expected, Shizune stands flanking her. I have a sneaking suspicion they want something from me. Hey Misha, Shizune, what's up?
Well! Shiji and I were thinking, since we're just two poor little girls that need help with all the work we've been given just before the holidays begin.
Sure, I can help.
But Hichan, we really need... What?
I think I broke Misha. I actually like doing that voice.
What? Hee-chan, what are you talking about?
Anyway, even Shizune raises an eyebrow at her accomplice's shuddering, stopping her tracks.
So you'll help us, Hee-chan?
I just said I would, didn't I? It's hardly like I have anything better to do. Maybe helping them with their work will help take my mind off the situation. Misha seems genuinely ecstatic with my response, but Shizune's expression is clouded and difficult to read. I find myself quickly averting my eyes from her own, as it almost looks like a face of pity. No doubt it must just be my imagination, right? Right? It's not. This is hardly the first time I've been in the student council room. Indeed, I felt myself down here often, either to help Lilly with class rep work, or to sort out one thing or another with the student council itself. Now for, it's quite a different place. Papers and folders are strewn across every table in the room, only a solitary little black laptop atop a single desk sticking out from the mess. It looks positively ancient, and I guess it has been validly serving its task in archiving information for years and years. But it works. So, what needs doing? This looks like a lot to do. Shizune's expression becomes determined as she sighs. It's a worried look.
Everything, Hee-chan.
My worry was well placed. Everything, you say.
What's left on the desk is what needs to be done. It all needs to be digitally recorded, which is what the laptop is for.
And I'm guessing that I'll be the one doing this.
She just says she saw you with the computers in the library a few days ago and that you seemed really good with them.
Good with I can touch type. I guess, but it still seems like an overestimation of my skill. I mean, I can keyboard type. Does it work? I mean... Oh, that's what it is. I totally thought this meant literally like, you know, touch type as in touch screen. Wait, were there touch screens back then? There weren't, right? He has a flip phone, of course not. Yeah, okay, so touch type, writing without looking at the keyboard. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I have the problem that I mistype one letter and have to look, but yeah, mostly I can go on without looking. Kind of. Anyway. So yeah, I catch myself actually looking more often than I used to, definitely. I was just typing my homework. Wait, Shizune was watching me do that? That's creepy.
One must know their allies before they know their enemies, of course.
I think you wanted to say the other way around, but okay.
Whoa, that's pretty wise.
For once, it's not very hard to work out who said that. Nonetheless, it doesn't seem worth fighting over. Sitting at the computer doing some typing hardly seems onerous as far as tasks to help Shizune and Misha go. I could do something like that.
Besides, it will help to take your mind off things.
Take my mind off what things? Misha's face goes blank as she translates this for Shizune. For the latter's response is only glance away towards the window, away after briefly signing. Misha's face quickly turns to a smile as she translates back. She was confused, I guess, but Shizune is hard to pin down.
I just think you may like to get your mind off the exams, of course.
Either way, we must well get into it sooner than later. I'll go along with you.
That's the spirit, Hee-chan!
And that's the 5th spreadsheet compiled and saved. Time for the next months. After a little bit of fusing around, we all managed to get a bit more organized. Shizune has been gathering up the loose sheets and, thankfully, sorting them into a neat pile next to me. Meanwhile, Misha's been handling the manual writing work, her girly pink pen leaving its unmistakable mark on paper after paper. Once I got myself in the red, this really wasn't so bad. Shizu and Misha also seem to be in a swing of things, wordlessly communicating as they go about their business with fervor. I periodically glance at the sheet beside the laptop, apparently a list of student names and matching addresses as I dutifully enter the data written on it. I don't pay a lot of attention to what I'm typing until I reach about midway down the page. Hakamichi, class 3-3. Ha. Her family's home is in Saitama. My idle curiosities ended abruptly as the 3 light taps can be heard rapping on the door. Misha quickly skips over to check who it is, tapping Shizune's shoulder on the way past to let her companion know what's happening.
Ah, you're here!
Who is it? With a slight pause to enter Shizune's data into the file along with all the others, I look out to check who's at the door. Lilly. After giving a cursory nod to Misha in greeting, she perks her up in her trademark manner.
Is that Hisao?
She's pretty darn good at working out my voice from the smallest of phrases nowadays. Yeah, it's me. Hey. The atmosphere feels slightly awkward as she bows. Neither of us knows quite how intimate we should be around each other, given she's leaving just a matter of hours. This is a fact that, thankfully, neither the oblivious Misha nor the hardworking Shizune pick up on. So, you've got work to do as well.
Unfortunately, I arrived as soon as I could, but my class held me up with a surprise farewell party, and I had to get changed.
I glanced down at the laptop's clock. It's pretty much the end of the lunchtime, so I'm guessing Lee managed to rank the last period as well.
I take it Shizune is here as well? Of course! And I've been here during all of lunchtime as well.
That last comment was really not needed. Shizune's baiting Lee into another argument, I can feel it.
I'm sorry, I can't be as hardworking as you, Shizune. I'll endeavor to hire more lackeys to my work in future, I assure you.
And Lilly just took the bait, escalating things further.
But aren't you the one always outsourcing work to the classmates? The difference is that they choose to help, unlike your tyrannical grip on your own class. Tyranny works! If we did things differently, we still got the same results, right?
Not really.
This is school, not a police state. You will have to remind me when you are appointed class monarch, I'm afraid. You have to seize the power. It's not as good if it's just handed to you, but I guess you would really understand that, right? You also have to remind me when monarchs were elected into their positions.
Lilly positively bristles at this. Shizune's 2-hit combo forced her onto defense.
Yet for all your wanted power, you cannot get one person to help without forcing him. But he's so volunteered! He's such a hard worker, he's doing this instead of being a socialization, right? Is that so? Hisao?
This is bad. I've really ended up between a rock and a hard place. As much as they paid me to do this, the truth has at least a chance of stopping this argument here and now. It's okay, Lilly. They didn't harass me to come or anything. Lilly gives me a disapproving grimace, silently radiating her strong feelings of displeasure in my general direction. She can be quite scary when she wants to be, though thankfully that isn't often.
Ichan, you make that sound like it's a regular occurrence!
It isn't? In the end, it does matter so long as everything's getting down to good pace. Let's just get this work over with so we can go home. Shizune snorts derisively and gets back to marking up the sheet in front of her. Welly sighs and finds her way along the room with her hand following the filing cabinets lined along the wall. This will mark the only time I've managed to successfully defuse one of these situations, but the grudging ceasefire built around mutual fear and respect makes this feel more like the Cold War than any real peace. I can't take all the credit for. Li's leaving has truly affected Shizune to some extent to make her give up so easily. Moments before getting back to my work, I noticed reaching up to grab something from above a filing cabinet. I almost offered to help, but her hair gives her ample ability to take it down safely. Once she sets the strangely shaped device on the desk beside me, I realize just what it is. Sort of as she takes the old green covering off and sits down. At first glance, it seems to be an old metallic blue typewriter, but it doesn't take me long to realize it's far from ordinary. It has far fewer keys than expected, and those it has showed that no lettering printed on them. Only the shadows cast by the tiny braille dots on them give a hint to the thing's purpose. Blind typewriter?
Oh, this? Well, you're not far off. It's normally called the Perkins Brailler, but it's basically a typewriter for the blind, yes. It presses braille into the page rather than text, which is why it has fewer keys.
That's really neat. She gives the light-hearted grin at my curiosity over it. I have to admit that it appeals to my sense of novelty. Without further ado, we each get back to our allotted tasks. The loud clunking of the mechanics in Lily's braille and the tapping of the laptop's old and weary keyboard quickly fill the room. It's a nice atmosphere, really. Everyone knows what they have to do, and Lily and I get to sit beside each other and exchange the odd word as we work away. Nostalgic. That's what it feels like. It's pleasant, but just slightly stained with the knowledge that our time together is nearing its end. To properly address her, Misha bounces over from the filing cabinet she's peering into, in spite of Lily's lack of sight. For a moment I think it's strange, but then I realize it's exactly what I do.
What's up? Could you ask Shizuna where the attendance records for the class 2 are? I think they've been moved. Okie dokie!
And with that she flitters off to Shizune, who's working at the table behind us. Lily's familiar with the council room, and the efficiency which she works remind me that she, Misha and Shizune used to all work together in the student council. Maybe this is a fitting end for her stay in Yamaku. Working away just like she used to, surrounded by those she loves and at least liked. I look up, getting taken off guard by Shizune sorting through a drawer rather than Misha. Sure enough, she plucks out the manila folder entirely blank save for the just barely visible bumps on its front, and holds it in front of Lily. Lily's hand flits over it to check what it is, her fingers filling out the dots of braille and confirming it's what she asked for.
Thank you, Misha.
No reply. No reply. That is for an odd grin. No. Smile? On Shizune's face? A couple of seconds pass before Lily clicks that it isn't Misha behind her but Shizune. Her momentary look of surprise replaced by a slightly bashful smile. For a few moments the room is all but still and silent. Eventually, Shizune strides back to her workstation, Lily begins typing once again. It only lasts a handful of seconds in all, but it feels like years of communication were made up for in that one silent exchange. This is a good moment, by the way, between the two. Really nice. They're finished. I lean my hand back and rub my eyes to try and work away their weariness. Staring at the small and rather poor screen has taken its toll.
Excellent timing. Don't think left is to file this away and I'll have my workload finished as well.
God damn it. Good, I can pack up the relay and put it away while you do that.
Thank you, Hisao.
Misha, are you and Shizune far from being done? Don't mind me, just taking the bottles of water. I look for the two. I look around for the two as I place the cover over the blader, only to see him waiting at the door. I guess they must be waiting for us. Damn it. Sorry, really sorry. Maybe it will get better now. With a minimum of wasted time, we file and pack up everything that remains and join them. Thanks for waiting, you two.
We couldn't just take off without you, Hit-chan. You've been a great help.
Shizune nods approvingly, pleased with my efforts. I guess that's the last class representative work done and over with then.
That's right. I'll miss you, Lily. I think it was fun working with you. Thank you, Misha. It's been working with you and Shizune.
She doesn't have things for me for formulating her response. It's not that she often communicates without thinking, quite the opposite, but this time it's even more considerate than usual. Misha looks a little surprised before passing on the message.
Shizuna says you'd better do your work over there better than you did in here.
Far from taking the offensively giggles into her hand.
If that's the case, then please tell Shizuna to give those still here a little more understanding in the future.
Competitive until the last. Maybe Shizuna and Lee aren't so different after all.
She just says that she'll be checking to make sure you live up to your end of the promise. Then that's how it will be. I'd better be off then. Goodbye, Shizuna. Goodbye, Misha. Hisao.
Lee takes hold my arm in hers. There being no need for Kane if I'm here to guide her. With a nod of farewell to the two, we set off out the door and make our way to the school grounds. I start trying to wave goodbye to them and students gazing, lingering on Lilly. They may annoy each other, but family bonds aren't easily broken. Got all your papers sorted then?
Yeah, they've all been filled out and handed in.
On top of things as always, aren't ya? She gives an earnest smile at the compliment, but it feels as if her happiness is just a veneer over the fact that she's fully aware of how much she's leaving behind. It reminds me of how she was like when I first met her. Always smiling, always that little bit aloof, always that little distance away from everybody. Even now, she still maintains that air around many others, especially those she's not close to. I had hoped that our time together would have changed that fact. Our pace slows the two of us coming to a halt in the all but empty school gardens.
Hisao, is Safiki?
These words are cut short as I turn and wrap my arms around her, pulling her tight. I may not usually be given to such impulsive actions, but I just want to be close to her. Even if it's just the last time I'll be able to. All the other students have retreated to their dormitories and homes. Only the ruffling of leaves in the breeze making any sound whatsoever. As I draw back, I can see she has dropped her carefully maintained smile. Okay, what if actually neutral ending will be the ending where they try to be in a long distance relationship? Come on. Like, I know it's maybe biased of me to say that, but Lilly doesn't deserve a bad or neutral ending. She only deserves a good ending, basically. So neutral ending has to be sort of good, right? Anyway, her hand hesitates, wanting neither to leave nor to stay on my features. She's putting up a brave show, but her slight trembling gives her away. Lilly may be able to control herself well, but even she can't hold her composure together now. Let's do it long distance. Lilly goes Scotland. She can study there. Hisao, boom, you have to study English like crazy from now on as well at university. Get the papers and go there as well. God damn it, it's easy. You can do it. I believe in you too.
I'm sorry, Hisao.
It's okay. You've got your own life to lead after all. Why do they not listen to me? We walk up the hallway in the girls' dormitory hand in hand, our emotions by now lethargy quelled. Nevertheless, our hands grip each other's much more tightly than before. Faint, muffled voices can be heard from this room, the origins of which aren't difficult to guess. The moment she opens the door, Hanako bursts through and wraps her arms around Lilly, taking her very obviously by surprise.
Lilly! Hanako. I'm going to miss you, Lilly.
As expected, she's on the verge of tears. Lilly gently wraps Hanako's hair with her hand. In response, then pulls back and gives a warm, reassuring smile. Looking beyond Hanako, Akira can be seen getting up from the side of Lilly's bed and scratching her head. Her eyes stare from little Hanako to me, a stilted, weak smile hanging on her face. I turn to the room and join more genuinely happy look, but the result is probably just the same.
So, everything is set. Managed to hold back from killing Shizuna?
The comment draws an amused giggle from her sister.
Yeah, I have everything in order, and yes, I managed not to. Have you packed everything you need? Good, the bag's right here, but there is still some left at the Hakamichi's home. I can pick that up while we wait there for tomorrow evening's flight for...
I carries the 2 large black trolley bags and Flora a hearty pat. She probably came to help pack and make sure everything goes in order on the descent before going together with her.
Lily, will you be okay over there? I'll be alright. I assure you, I'll have Akira looking after me as well, and you know that she's reliable. But... Don't worry, Hanako. I have your phone number after all, so can stay in touch. With Akira's help, I could send you things over the internet as well. Hey, don't use me just because you won't learn how to use a computer!
Hanako and Lee both giggle briefly, the mood lightening ever so little.
That goes for you too, Hisao. I promise I'll contact you once I'm in Scotland.
I know. I'll be looking forward to it. Her offer may be kind, but we both know that this is tantamount to breaking up. Neither of us has any illusions as to how we'll manage a long-distance relationship. Yeah, so let's not even try, right? With another word of prompting, the 4 of us begin the long, solemn walk to the school gate. The numerous lamps scattered around the Yamaku grounds fail to do much more than provide pinpoints of light in an otherwise dense darkness. A car parked on the road just outside the school grounds comes into view, its shiny black exterior reflecting the dimly lit lamps of Yamaku. I call out to Akira in an effort to alleviate a bit of a heavy atmosphere. That's your car! What kind is it? Why did I scream? Kind of.
Don't know much about their cars, do you? It's a Lancer Evo, solid and speedy.
Well, it's not as if her comment on my knowledge is off the mark. I've never really taken interest in them. She gives a small sigh.
She's been good. Pity I have to part with it tomorrow, just like the summer house. You guys were the last of us before it had changed hands.
Turning back from my rather faulty attempt at small talk, I glanced at Hanako and Lee following behind us. By rights, Hanako should be leading Lilly, but it's her definitely the other way around as she clings tightly to Lily's arm. It's a depressing sight.
So, I guess this is it. Indeed.
Although the time for everyone to say farewells is now, nobody really wants to take the first step. It's as if the longer nobody speaks, the better chances of them simply not leaving. Sorry.
Lily, do you really have to go? I'm sorry, Hanako. I'll be leaving you forever, though. I can still call you. Hisao will still be here as well.
I nod, but Hanako just clutches all the tighter to Lee's arm. After spending so long without anyone to call family, it must be excruciating to have to say goodbye to that one person that was as close to a mother as anyone could have been in her life. Lily lets out a long, sad breath. All Akira and I can really do is stand by quietly, on the sidelines, since the only person who can solve this would be Lily herself. Eventually, Lily pulls her arm from Hanako's grip and holds both her shoulders gently, a much more decisive way of address than I ever seen Lily take with her.
Hanako, remember when we first met? When you entered my room for the first time, after overhearing my consoling of a friend, you didn't say a single word for the entire night. Even as I poured you tea and talked, you sat silently and simply listened to what I said. It took many quiet meetings like that before you began to open up to me, but as you began to, I felt some of the happiest moments I've ever felt. I didn't become your friend because I pitied you, Hanako. I became your friend because I knew you were hiding not just from me, but from everyone. Your ambitions, personality, interests, tastes. I didn't know any of them, and neither did anybody else. As you showed yourself to be for, I began to realize the person that you were, and became sure that our meeting was a very special moment. But
Lee cuts her words short as she brings her hand to Hanako's head and brushes her bangs to the side, gently pressing her lips to Hanako's forehead. As she pulls her head back, leaving Hanako all but speechless, and her eyes moist, Lily beams a wide smile.
I believe you are a very beautiful person, Hanako, and I'm certain you will become a strong and confident woman. You are a very dear friend, and someone whom I love very much, just like Hisao. I will never forget you for as long as I live. I may be leaving, but you have your own life here to lead, just as I do. You have your own friends and hobbies, and your own hopes after graduation. I want you to devote yourself to them, even after I'm not around anymore. That is why I think you'll be okay.
Oh my god, wrong moment to yawn, really.
Because you are your own self, with your own life. You yourself prove that to me.
Hanako lowers her head in embarrassment, but nods as she does so.
I understand. I know I have to say goodbye. I know you have to go your own way. But thank you, Lily, for everything. Thank you, Hanako. Will you be okay?
There are a few seconds silence before the answer comes.
I will.
Lily smiles, undoubtedly at least partly in relief.
That makes me very happy then. Goodbye. Goodbye, Lily. And farewell to you as well, Hisao.
Goodbye. I'll miss you. She pauses for a moment before walking up to me. Her right hand, outstretched in front of her, takes hold of my shoulder. Her left hand slowly and daintily reaches towards my face, taking my cheek in her palm. For a while she simply holds my face, her fingers just slightly moving, taking its contours. Usually her hand would be warm when doing such thing, but the night air given her skin a cool edge. I'm not sure how long we stay like this, her clouded eyes pointed just below my own as she wears a wistful, almost distant smile. Eventually though I take her cold hand in mine. It's difficult to do so, but with a slight sigh I gently remove her hand from my cheek. I hope you have a long and happy life, Lily, no matter where you might go.
Thank you. I'll make sure to.
She takes a long, trembling breath before turning slightly towards Akira's direction.
Akira. Okay.
With a nod, she takes Lily's hand and begins to guide her to the car parked outside the gates. They both walk slowly and deliberately as if their movements had been rehearsed in advance. It's strange to feel like this now, watching somebody leave Yamaku. The feeling of unease I have now reminds me of the first time I walked through those black wrought iron gates that always looked for too pompous for what they were. As they leave, all of us know full well that our lives are irreversibly changing. I'd always told myself that I just had to take life as it comes, but everything's changing so fast, so suddenly. In the end, Lily's an irreplaceable part of the lives of both Hanako and me. The noise of Akira opening the passenger door for Lily brings me out of my thoughts, her hand waving back as Lily gets in.
See ya, guys! Take care of yourselves! Goodbye, Hanako. Goodbye, Hisao.
Hanako's hand quickly shoots up, her face brightened by her enthusiastic farewell.
Goodbye, Lily. Goodbye!
See you, Akira. And goodbye, Lily. The door shuts as we all put on our best happy farewell faces. Akira getting in the car herself and starting up in short measure. Lily's hand can just be... What the fuck is that? No, I don't want any updates right now. God damn it. Stop turning this on. I don't care. Shut the process. Alright. I'm not sure if I read this now. This can just be seen waving through the tinted windows, both our hands waving high as well. Just as every other time I've done such things, I can't quite work out precisely why I or Hanako waved to her, given that she'd never seen us doing so, but it does matter. Even after that black shiny car goes down the hill and disappears in the dark night, we carry on waving and seeing Akira and Lily off. And then they are gone. A strange stillness takes over as our hands return to our sides. I didn't quite know what I should do or how I should feel. In the end, we just stand there silently, staring down to where the car disappeared from sight.
Goodbye, Lily.
All I can do is respond to her quiet, mournful goodbyes to place a hand on her shoulder. She looks at me for a few moments before looking back down to the hill, secure in the knowledge that I'm still around for her. What we'll do from now doesn't seem all that uncertain. We all have our own ambitions now, just as Lilly said. But even so, it feels like there's a certain missing part beyond our lives now, something that can never be replaced. Okay, I guess we'll continue. There's an outro already? There was something happening after the outro previously, right? Oh my god, my legs! I overdid it. Wait, but it's an outro. Credits. Without any kind of scenes. That's interesting. So do we get the scenes only on the good ends? I mean, I don't remember how it was with Shizune's route actually. I'm not sure. Special thanks. Not gonna lie, I thought this thing should be given an animation. So freaking good. Of course, I mean all the routes should be given. All the separate routes should be given an animation. Oh, so it's finished! Honk! Oh, okay. So like... So neutral ends like... Neutral ends actually seem like... You know what? Actually, nothing happens there. Dang! It's... Oh. I mean, I didn't expect something crazy like... You know, him going on a chase actually... like in a good end and actually not surviving the heart attack. Or, you know, him mulling over the thing in his room and again. I don't know really what I expected in the end. But I did not expect to end like this. Like, you know, the ending being like, hey, we say goodbye when she drives away and that's it. I'm surprised, not gonna lie. But, yeah. I mean, I guess it's neutral. Completely a neutral end, basically. So, yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. I think I'm not moving straight. Definitely not today. I'm not moving to recording straight up the next route. I think I will move to play something that I kind of need to make a comeback to because there has been new content added. There's been 2 games actually like this. So I'm a little curious at what's exactly being added there, and yeah, we'll see what exactly is going there. I won't be telling you exactly what the game is for, what the games are for. Yeah, I mean, if you look up at the channel or, you know, your subscriptions, you will see what the upload is about, right? Let's say I just played those 2 games a while ago, especially the one of them. I actually can look up quickly, why not? Let's see. The first game is this. And whoa, that's been so freaking long ago. Yo, this is basically the beginning of the channel. I'm pretty sure, no, I'm certain I played this while it was still on the Zura, by the way. This is crazy. 2015, now making a comeback to this in 2021. Damn. And actually in the same almost date. Yo. I mean today, when I'm finishing recording this, it's 25th. I started recording Sepia. Okay, you now know what I'm talking about when it comes to the game. Great job, Lynx. I started recording on 24th February 2015. Damn. Like, it's crazy how this year goes. Like, I started literally Katawa Shoujo on the day it was released, but a few years back, basically, right? 9 years, if I remember correctly. But on the same day, it was released, basically. Now this one is basically almost the same day as I started recording it by then. The Sura was so great, by the way. And the second game, I think I didn't like this game too much, but I want to play it anyway. Oh, we played it in 2019, so not that long ago. Took them a while to get to it. So I kind of also don't feel like playing it. But I will get to it, I'm curious if it got any better at all over the time. Anyway, that was for today's episode of Katawa Shoujo. As I said, I will get to recording 2 different games and then get back to, of course, another route from this lovely creation you were watching. And then, I don't know what in the future. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, hope you have a wonderful day. See you in the next video. Bye bye.